Mark Twain once said, "What gets us into trouble is not what we don't know. It's what we do know for sure that just ain't so." Today, one of the biggest topics of debate is climate change. However, there should be no debate about whether or not our Earth's climate is changing. Science proves that climate change is indeed happening. This should be alarming to humans, but rather than taking action, some choose to deny that it's happening in the first place. Like Mark Twain said, this denial is going to get us into trouble, and if action is not taken, we may be too far in to find a solution. Today, I want to inform you about climate change. The temperature of the Earth is increasing at an alarming rate. The extreme amount of CO2 emissions is causing this increase, and it is all negatively affecting the ecosystems. This past summer, I attended the Governor's Scholar Program, where I studied biological and environmental issues. Climate change was my focus of the 5-week program, and I learned about the causes, effects, and solutions. I'm sure that you're familiar with the term climate change, but what does it really mean? The Earth is warming at an alarming rate. According to NASA, the Earth's average surface temperature has risen about 1.62 degrees Fahrenheit since 1880. This may seem like a small number, but think about all the oceans, landmass, and atmosphere that covers the Earth. It would take an immense amount of heat to warm up the Earth by that much. Plus, it only took a 2-degree Fahrenheit drop to cause the Little Ice Age, and a 5-degree decrease in temperature to cover North America in ice 200,000 years ago. The global average temperature of the Earth has always fluctuated, but in recent years, it has reached all-time highs. If you look at this study conducted by Berkeley Earth, you can see that the global average temperature has always fluctuated. However, in 2016, it reached a peak and is almost 2 times higher than what it was around 1880, and that is a huge increase. The 10 hottest years include 1998, 2005, 2009, 2010, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. The past 5 years have been the hottest years recorded in history, with 2016 being the hottest. In 2016, January through September, with the exclusion of June, broke the record for that month's average temperature. Whereas the Earth's climate has changed throughout history, today's crisis is so alarming because it is extremely likely to be the result of human activity. The extreme emissions of CO2 and other greenhouse gases are the cause of climate change. In an inconvenient truth, Al Gore explains that the atmosphere is the most vulnerable part of the Earth's ecosystem. It is so thin that we can change its composition. We are emitting so much CO2 and other greenhouse gases that they are thickening the Earth's atmosphere. In fact, the atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide has increased by over 40% over the industrial era, according to the U.S. Global Change Research Program. If you will look at this diagram, you can see that the CO2 concentration has always increased in the world. However, every year it fluctuates up and down once. That is because the majority of the landmass on the world is above the equator. So when that is facing the sun in summer and spring seasons, the trees are alive and they're exhaling all this oxygen and intaking the CO2. However, when that part of the Earth is facing away from the sun, it's the fall and winter season. So all of these trees are dead, and therefore the CO2 lingers in the air and they're exhaling all the CO2 instead of taking it in. The way that climate change works is solar radiation comes to the Earth in the form of light waves, and the Earth absorbs that heat. Then some of the energy is radiated back into space in infrared waves. However, some of those waves are trapped and the Earth warms. Now, since we have emitted so many CO2 gases, as this chart represents, the Earth's atmosphere is now thickening, and it's trapping in all these infrared rays, making the Earth warmer. Now that we know why the Earth is warming, let's look at what this means. Climate change is affecting thousands of ecosystems in negative ways. The Earth is getting so hot that major glaciers are beginning to melt and to break apart. According to Al Gore, if all of Greenland melts, or if half of Greenland melts and half of Alaska melts, the ocean is projected to rise by 20 feet. Stop to think about this. Anytime that you have been to a shoreline, imagine what surrounds you. The people, the animals, the places, all of it will be gone. Miami would be completely underwater. The majority of the Netherlands would be too. Manhattan would be extremely flooded. These are only 3 of the examples of places that would be impacted. There are hundreds of millions of people living in these areas, and they would all have to be relocated. Our world already struggles enough trying to shelter refugees who escape natural disasters. Relocating hundreds of millions of people seems unimaginable. Humans are not the only organisms being affected. There are thousands more. Coral reefs are bleaching because of the hot oceans. Coral reefs are homes to many fish and marine life, and when those marine life creatures have nowhere to live, they can no longer survive. There's also a major issue with invading species. For example, pine beetles used to be killed by the cold. However, they can now survive in today's climate. They're starting to invade entire forests, making them look as if the trees have been burned. I encourage you to look for a changed ecosystem that is in your area. In conclusion, today we learned about climate change. We looked at what climate change is, the causes of it, and its effects. Now that you know more about climate change, I hope that you find ways to fight climate change for the sake of future generations. Thank you.